So this is the JBL Charge 6, and there are some notable upgrades both on the outside and on the inside. And in general, the JBL Charge 5 has been one of my favorite mid-size speakers to recommend for the last 3 years or so. So today we're going to see what the JBL Charge 6 is all about, and we're going to see if it's worth upgrading if you have the JBL Charge 5, or maybe you might even still have the JBL Charge 4, which was also a pretty solid mid-size speaker. So first, there's pricing, and unfortunately, the Charge 6 has gotten a noticeable price bump. Now, the JBL Charge 6 has a retail price of $200, which is pretty up there, especially when you take into consideration that the Charge 5 had a retail price of $180 when it first came out, and the Charge 4 had a retail price of $150 when it first came out, and those were definitely the days. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these speakers up, they'll be linked down below, or you can always press on the YouTube shopping button, and if you want to further support the channel, then you can always pick up some merch. So first, there's the design of this speaker. Now, the Charge 6 is a mid-size speaker, and it's very similar to the Charge 5, except they have rearranged the button layout, which isn't super important, to be honest. However, what is important here is that the feet on the Charge 6 have been completely reworked. The rubber feet on the Charge 6 are a lot more durable this time around. And this is a big deal because with the Charge 5, these rubber feet are just glued on, and with very light traveling, these feet will easily peel off. But another big upgrade on the Charge 6 is that you can now attach a carrying handle to the speaker, and this carrying strap actually has two positions. The only thing is, I just feel that this pleather loop is just such a hassle to put on and take off. I just really wish that JBL used clips like they did with the Extreme 4. Nonetheless, I really like that the Charge 6 is a lot easier to carry around, and you can now more easily attach to the things if you want. But besides that, everything else here is the same. Now, the Charge 6 is rocking an IP68 rating, so it's both dirt and waterproof, and it has a mostly fabric wrap body, so it's going to be able to stand up to constant abuse from bumps and scrapes. The only thing that I do have to point out here is the USB-C port on this speaker is exposed. Now, you can still throw your Charge 6 into the pool, and it's going to be perfectly fine. However, before you can actually charge it up, you do have to let it air dry. So if you ever try to charge the speaker up and then your indicator light is just blinking red, don't worry, you didn't break it, you just gotta wait for it to dry off. But then there's the battery life on this speaker, and this is another big upgrade. Now, the Charge 6 has an advertised battery life of 24 hours, which is a 4-hour upgrade over its predecessors, because both the Charge 5 and the Charge 4 have an advertised battery life of 24 hours. And with Playtime Boost, the Charge 6 is going to have an advertised battery life of 28 hours. However, all Playtime Boost does is that it lowers the bass on the speaker and it increases the mids and highs. So it's not going to sound as impressive because it's going to sound a lot brighter. So for the best sound quality, you do want to use this speaker with its Playtime Boost feature turned off. But real-world use, with all of these speakers playing at 80% volume, they're all going to be good for around 10 hours of playback time. However, 80% volume on the Charge 6 is a little louder and it has a little more bass than its predecessors. So with the Charge 6, you'll probably end up using it at a slightly lower volume than you would with the Charge 5, and you'll end up extending its battery life that way. And like I mentioned earlier, the Charge 6 charges via a USB-C port, as it should. Just keep in mind that this speaker does not come included with a USB-C cable in the box, which I don't think is cool. But more importantly, you can use your phone's charger to charge it up. And this is the only port that you'll find on the speaker. The Charge 6 no longer has a USB-A port like the Charge 5 does, and it doesn't have an audio jack like the Charge 4 does. However, this USB-C port on the Charge 6 is a lot cooler than the USB-C port on these other two speakers, because you can use this USB-C port to charge your own devices, and you can also use this USB-C port as a wired connection. So, battery life on the Charge 6 has been upgraded, and you can use this upgraded battery to charge your phone up, and you can use whatever USB-C to USB-C cable you have lying around. You no longer need to carry around a USB-A to USB-C cable if you wanted to charge your phone up with the Charge 5. And when it comes to connectivity, things are pretty standard here. The speaker can be connected to two devices at the same time, so you and a friend can both be DJ. Latency is not an issue for this speaker, so you can use this speaker to watch videos with on your phone. And when it comes to audio codecs, the Charge 6 has support for both SBC and AAC. But wait, if you want to further support the channel, then check out our partners over at Factor. Factor ships chef-cooked meals right to your door, which are genuinely very tasty, they're healthy, and they're super easy to prepare, store, and cleanup is super easy as well. You can choose from 40 different meals a week, and you can sort through them by preferences or dietary needs. Personally, I'm a fan of the Tex-Mex beef bowl. It's hearty and spicy. The chimichurri chicken breast is super tasty and macro-friendly, and the honey butter chicken breast with mashed potatoes are perfect for when you need something warm and comfy. So click on our link down below and get 50% off on your first order, and you're gonna get free shipping for life, and you're gonna get 2 free add-ons for life as well. I actually went with the wellness shots. Factor makes it very easy to eat good, save money, and save time. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about sound. Regarding speaker setup, the Charge 6 is rocking the same speaker setup as the Charge 5. Both of these speakers have a front-mount firing woofer, a front-mount firing tweeter, and dual passive radiators that shoot at the sides. Whereas with the Charge 4, this speaker has a single front-mount firing woofer and dual passive radiators that shoot at the sides. And the woofer and tweeter setup on the Charge 6 and Charge 5 is a big deal because the woofer handles the mids and the tweeter handles the highs, like this. So like we have just seen, the woofer handles the mids and the tweeter handles the highs. And this is just going to help your music sound a lot more open and is going to have a much better instrument separation. And in 2025, this speaker setup is still mostly reserved for your more premium speakers, whereas more affordable speakers are still rocking a dual woofer setup. And finally, the Charge 6 connects to JBL's app just like how you can with the Charge 5, so you can either choose from a few pre-made EQs or you can make your own. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the sound test. All of these speakers are playing at 75% volume. They're all running their stock EQs, and they're all running while unplugged.
I wish I could tell you that I want you here with me, but you'll never love me like the way we used to be. Too far from Saturn, lost in the patterns. Where's the stars and lies so we can be free? Arms are sweaty, knees unsteady. I can't see my hands straight. Heart is heavy, wasn't ready. Don't think I can see your face. No, we're just friends. How long till that ends? It feels like forever away.
So like we have just heard, both the Charge 6 and the Charge 5 sound a lot more open than the Charge 4 thanks to the woofer and tweeter setup. But also, both the Charge 6 and Charge 5 have more bass than the Charge 4. Simply put, if you have the Charge 4, upgrading to either the Charge 5 or Charge 6, you're going to get noticeable sound improvement just because both of these speakers have a woofer and tweeter setup. But if you're going from the Charge 5 to the Charge 6, the main performance difference that you're going to notice is going to be max volume performance. The Charge 6 gets noticeably louder than these other two speakers. I think the Charge 5 gets decently loud for its size, but I am genuinely impressed by just how loud the Charge 6 gets for its size. However, even though the Charge 6 gets super loud, I have noticed that at those higher volumes, some distortion can come in. Now, JBL claims that through the use of AI sound boost, you're not going to get any distortion, but in my experience, I have noticed that at higher volumes, the highs can get a little crankly at times. But regardless, if you use the Charge 6 at 90% volume, it's going to be super loud. And also keep in mind, if you were to use the Charge 6 while it's plugged in, you are not going to get a performance boost out of it like you would with the Extreme 4. But overall, the Charge 6 sounds good thanks to its woofer and tweeter setup, and it gets louder than the Charge 5. Just be warned that at those higher volumes, the highs might get a little distorted at times. But finally, let's talk about pairing these speakers up with other speakers. Now, the JBL Charge 4 is using JBL's Connect Plus, which is a very old speaker pairing protocol, which is only going to work with JBL's older speakers that are also using JBL Connect Plus, like the original boombox or the Flip 4 or the Pulse 3, basically speakers that you can't get anymore. Whereas with the JBL Charge 5, it's using JBL's Party Boost, so you can pair it up to other Party Boost speakers like either a Boombox 3, a Boombox 2, an Extreme 3, an Extreme 4, a Charge 5, a Pulse 5, a Pulse 4, a Flip 5, or to a Flip 6. Now you can either get two of the same speakers and you can get them to play in left and right stereo mode, or you can pair up to 100 speakers together and get them to all play in sync. But then there's the JBL Charge 6, which is now using Auracast, so you can pair it up to other Auracast speakers like either another Charge 5 or to an Extreme 4, a Flip 7, a Clip 5, or a Go 4. And again, if you have two of the same speakers, then you can get them to play in left and right stereo mode, or you can pair up to 100 speakers together and get them to all play in sync. But unfortunately for right now, you cannot wirelessly connect your JBL Charge 6 to your JBL Charge 5 and get them to play in sync. And if you're paying attention, you may have noticed that the Extreme 4 is the only speaker here that connects to both Auracast speakers and Party Boost speakers. The Extreme 4 can live in both worlds, which I think is great. However, none of these other Auracast speakers are able to do this. Now, I don't know if these other Auracast speakers will get upgraded in the future, but for right now, you cannot connect your Charge 6 to your older Party Boost speakers. However, since the JBL Charge 6 is using Auracast, the cool thing is that you can connect the speaker up to JBL's newer Party Box speakers that are also using Auracast, like either the Party Box Encore 2, 120, 320, 520, and Ultimate, whereas this is something that you just can't do with JBL's older speakers that are using Party Boost. So if you're planning on growing your collection of speakers, then you do want to go with the Charge 6 because it has Auracast, and it looks like JBL is going to be using Auracast here on out. Plus, you can connect your JBL speakers to non-JBL speakers that are also using Auracast. The only thing that I do want to point out here is I do feel that JBL's Party Boost is a lot more stable and easier to use than Auracast. But with all that being said, the JBL Charge 6 has some very important upgrades that are actually pretty compelling, even if you already have the JBL Charge 5. Personally, I really like that the Charge 6 has a longer lasting battery, and you can now charge your own devices with its USB-C port. The USB-A port on the Charge 5 just didn't cut it. Plus, you can use this USB-C port as a wired connection. The Charge 6 also now has that built-in carrying handle, which I think is a really nice touch. I just hate how difficult it is to put on and take off. The Charge 6 also gets louder than both the Charge 5 and Charge 4, but I feel that sometimes the highs can get a little distorted if you listen closely. And the Charge 6 is now using Auracast, so if you have a Party Box, you can now sync it up. Overall, the JBL Charge 6 is still a great mid-size speaker that you can't go wrong with, and JBL added important upgrades that make the speaker more useful and portable. The only thing is, you are going to have to pay a larger premium for this speaker. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.